Coming up next on KPBS Evening Edition, California prisons mark a milestone. Scenes like this are history.
And student entrepreneurs take center stage at the University of San Diego, but making money for themselves is not their primary goal.
KPBS Evening Edition starts now. Hello, thanks for joining us. I'm Joanne Farian.
I'm Dwayne Brown. California prison officials say they've removed about 20,000 beds once crammed into gyms and other common areas because there were too many inmates for regular prison cells. The State Corrections Department says the end of its non-traditional beds is a milestone in reducing overcrowding. Statewide, the prison population has dropped by nearly 19,000 inmates since a realignment order to transfer less serious offenders to county jail started in October. But the system is still overcrowded. This week, San Diego's Donovan prison was nearly 67% over capacity, with nearly 3,700 inmates in a facility designed to hold 2,200. It is an improvement from late September when there were more than 4,300 inmates. Last week, Donovan told KPBS they had cleared all the inmates from their gym.
A University of San Diego study finds that violence along the U.S.-Mexico border has decreased in the last year. Fronteras reporter Adrian Florido joins us from the KPBS News Center with more details. Adrian, how much has border violence diminished, and does the report tell us why?
Well, 2 years ago, 30% of all of Mexico's drug-related killings happened in cities along the U.S.-Mexico border. Last year, that number fell to just 17%. It's hard to tell exactly why, because you can't very well go and interview the drug cartels, but there is speculation that the main cartel in both of those cities, the Sinaloa cartel, has sort of defeated its opponents, its smaller drug operations, and doesn't have to be as violent as it had in the past to get its job done.
Now, the report also points out, though, that killings in other parts of Mexico have increased. So do we assume the problem has only migrated rather than diminished?
According to the report, that is what's happened. A lot of the drug violence has moved south as criminal gangs and drug gangs continue to fight for control of southern parts of the country. Last year, the number of drug-related murders did increase by 11% over the year before. And though it sounds bad, it's still better than the year before that, which was a 59% increase in murders related to drugs from 2009 to 2010. So things aren't getting better necessarily, but they're getting worse at a slower rate.
Okay, KPBS reporter Adrian Florido.
California's Board of Equalization has posted a list of the 500 biggest tax delinquents. More than a dozen San Diego companies are on it. The list also includes several individuals, all of them tagged for delinquent sales and use taxes totaling nearly $25 million. Some of the unpaid taxes go back to 2003. Now, starting in July, those on the list won't be able to get state licenses or permits until they pay up. The price at the gas pump keeps climbing in San Diego. Now, the Auto Club says our prices are higher than Honolulu. Gas is usually more expensive in Hawaii because of shipping costs, but the Auto Club says today's average was a penny more than the Aloha State. The average for a gallon of regular in San Diego, $4.37.
Traffic court isn't a pleasant experience for most people, but the Superior Court here in San Diego is trying to make it a bit easier. The court is offering online scheduling for night court in Kearny Mesa and the North County. A court official says it should make things easier for people who don't have time to deal with traffic tickets during their work days. And he says the system should help the court staff prepare cases ahead of time. If it works, it could expand.
The second annual Social Innovations Challenge was held on the campus of the University of San Diego today. It allows students to pitch ideas for business ventures to entrepreneurs. The objective, come up with a way to solve a social, economic, or environmental problem plaguing San Diego or the world.
You may own a pair of Toms, a socially conscious company that matches every pair of shoes sold with a pair of new shoes for a child in need. The company's founder was inspired by a trip to Argentina, where he saw extreme poverty and children walking around barefoot. Tom sold 10,000 pairs in its first year and gave away 10,000 more to Argentina.
So what's my business model? It's similar to Tom's, where every single product a consumer buys, I donate one to a homeless in need.
Like dozens of other students, Tron had 5 minutes to pitch his idea for a backpack that converts into a sleeping tent to shelter San Diego's homeless at night. Then a 3-minute feedback session from a panel of mostly business professionals.
How do you watch it?
I haven't got to that point
Okay.
yet. It's still in concept mode.
All right.
One of the 9 judges for this contest to win up to $30,000 in seed money is Tiffany Owen. She's been on both sides of the table.
I am really astounded and really impressed with all of my peers' ideas and how much time and thought they've put into their projects.
Owen actually won last year's challenge with a recycling campaign in California to generate funding for a clean water project in earthquake-damaged Haiti.
And by recycling in the community, you get the 5-cent CRV on each can. We used the money to purchase the filters and installed them in Haiti.
She says the students here come from business, law, nursing, and every other school on campus. Last year, 19 pitched their ideas, and this year, the number of applicants nearly tripled to 52.
It's going to be a for-profit business, and for every water bottle sold, half the profit goes to charity.
Owen says many of the students say they're committed to making a difference whether their project is funded or not.
And the winners for the Social Innovation Challenge will be chosen at the end of April. What happens when the watchdog is attacked? Joanne has that story and other big news of the week over at the Roundtable.
For 25 years, they were supposed to be the agency that looked out for the consumer, the group that would make sure that we weren't getting ripped off. Now, a senior manager of the Utility Consumers Action Network, known as UCAN, is accused of taking illegal bonuses and keeping secret bank accounts. Last week, UCAN was served with a federal subpoena. Also this week, more financial trouble at San Diego schools, and it looks like a showdown between the school board and the union. Joining me to talk about the week's top stories, Jeff McDonald, investigative reporter at UT San Diego, and David Rollin, editor at San Diego City Beat. Thanks for being here.
Sure.
Jeff, bring us up to speed. What is UCAN accused of, and how did this come to light?
This came to light earlier this week after UCAN, the board of directors decided to file a dissolution request in San Diego Superior Court. They characterized this in a media advisory as a protective defensive measure against threatened lawsuits and cash flow problems, but it also underscored a federal investigation that we learned about at the same time. The FBI apparently has been looking into UCAN finances, transactions, and bank accounts for some months. And the chairman of the board is ordered to appear in federal court next week with a whole wheelbarrow full of records.
Now, let's throw into this story a couple of whistleblowers, or so-called whistleblowers. It gets even more complicated and interesting. But we had them on our show earlier this week, 2 employees with UCAN who told us that they were concerned about what was going on with money. They went to the board privately. The board didn't respond and then got themselves a lawyer, Mike Aguirre. So what happened next?
Well, the board did respond, according to all sides. They hired an investigator who looked into the allegations and found no merit to them. The 2 employees don't feel like the investigation was as thorough or extensive as it needed to be, and that they didn't look at other evidence that subsequently was reported to the board members. So they don't consider the investigation to be worthwhile. So that prompted their approaching Mr. Aguirre, who has since negotiated privately with the board members to try and resolve some of the issues he considers extremely important to the good governance of the organization. And that hasn't satisfied either the employees or Mr. Aguirre.
And I think what's at play here, right, David, are some personalities. So Mike Aguirre, former city attorney, and then also Michael Shames, which you talked to him at length yesterday.
Yes, Michael Shames is well known all over San Diego, and especially to reporters. He works very well with the media in town and has been doing it for almost 30 years in his various battles against utilities in this city. He's affable. He's fun to talk to. He's a really nice guy. It's almost kind of like, and I have personally a great admiration for the work that he's done. So when you hear this news, it's almost like a say it isn't so kind of thing. And personally, you know, I'm pulling for the guy because I'd hate to think that he did anything wrong, particularly, you know, for him, for one thing, but particularly for the consumers in San Diego. If we lose UCAN, there's a huge hole in the defense of ratepayers in the city.
I want to talk more about that, but I also want to toss to a Facebook comment from Michael Shames that he posted, I believe, last night. What he says, fears about UCAN's imminent demise are, as Twain would have said, greatly exaggerated. Here's the real scoop. Mike Aguirre has been terrorizing the UCAN board for the better part of a year with all nature of threats about impending legal action for everything and anything he can imagine. The UCAN board finally reached the end of its patience and is now forcing Aguirre to come public with whatever imagined claims he has about UCAN through a petition of dissolution process. We're pretty sure he has nothing, but he now has 30 days to put up or shut up. It's fair to say that Aguirre and I have a long-standing memberships to the same mutual distaste society. This time it is very personal. Is that part of this? Is this a personal fight?
Well, Michael Shames says it is, and he would not be the first person to ever say that Mike Aguirre is waging a terror campaign. Mike, he would probably even admit that he's a bit of a bull in a china shop. He comes charging in, and he takes no prisoners, and he has a real style about him. Certainly other folks have said, to me over the years during his tenure as city attorney that he can be volatile and vindictive and all these other things. But, hey, maybe he's got something here, and we won't know until it all shakes out.
So, Jeff, what will happen now with these big cases? We've got the SDG&E case with the wildfires. We've got water. What's going to happen?
Those cases will persist at the PUC level. The question is how effective and whether UCAN will continue to press the ratepayers case. Mr. Shames has said he'll continue to do the work, whether it's with UCAN or some new organization that may shake out at the end of this process.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it there. I want to move on to the week's other big story. So the must-read this week, City Beat's cover story on the finances of San Diego Unified School District. I'll give you the first line. Scott Barnett is considering the nuclear option. Now, Scott Barnett is the school trustee, and I will leave it up to David Rowland, the author of that line, to tell us what the nuclear option is. David, take it away.
Actually, the nuclear option, those were my words. His word a little later in the story, in a direct quote, was Armageddon. So Armageddon was probably a more exciting term. And what he means by that is deciding not to lay off 1,100, 1,200 employees and instead purposefully run the district out of money. And what would happen if that occurred? The district essentially would throw up its hands, raise the white flag, and say, we have failed to balance this budget. We're in serious trouble. We can't pay our bills. So then what would happen was the state would send in a trustee to take over the district, probably get state loans of some kind, of some amount, to keep the district afloat. It's important to note that they don't have to do that. Insolvency is not required here. The reason for that is that the school board has a proposed budget. But the problem is, in order to balance the budget, its proposal is to lay off as many employees as I was just saying, plus sell off $21 million worth of real estate assets that the school district owns. So there is no, I call the story, basically a lose-lose situation. There is no good option here.
This is why I liked your story. We know that budgets are about choices, and you lay out the choices for us. It's right, and I don't know if they're false choices, but often they're layoffs, bigger class sizes, or do teachers make concessions? These are all the things that could happen, or this final choice is run out of money. Is this really becoming a showdown between the union, who in your story says we don't know if they're out of money, and the school board? Is this what you...
It certainly appears to be. You can understand the union point of view, not wanting to give up hard-won concessions. They did make a bunch of concessions over the last couple of years. They're now waiting to capitalize on the benefits they were promised 2 years ago. So it is a going question as to whether the union will agree to postpone those raises they were promised in light of keeping class sizes where they are.
Now, you had a story today, too, concerning the union and concessions, or not concessions, but health care costs. Tell us about that.
Yes, the district spends a lot of money delivering health care services to its employees, about $170 million this year. They spend that money through a trust, and the The trust in question, the district's relationship with the trust, it has an exclusive deal with the trust called VIBA that they've enjoyed for 20 years. What some people would like to do is put that agreement out to a competitive bid. At least one competitor said they could deliver the same level of service for $10 million a year less, which would free up money to put back into classrooms and teacher salaries.
So, David, I know in your story you pointed out, and there have been other media reports about the union really not willing to come to the table so much. So do you think Scott Barnett sort of saying, okay, insolvency, is this a chess move? Is this a threat? Is this sort of taunting the union, or what's that all about?
Yes, I would say it is. As I said, the district does not have to go insolvent. They have a plan to lay off all these people and sell off a bunch of real estate. That would balance the budget. And we're talking about $122 million for the upcoming school year, which is about 18% of their discretionary budget. So it's a big,
but is it really an option if you're going to end up with classrooms that are, 40 kids, 50 kids? Is that a real option?
That's Scott Barnett's point. He's saying, which is worse? Saying we can't handle it anymore, this problem's too big, and we can't get along with the unions, we can't come to an agreement, or laying off all these people and really degrading the quality of education. Bill Freeman, who's the president of the teachers union, said, look, the big problem here is we are budgeting in the dark. We don't know what the state's budget is yet. That's what this is all about. The state doesn't come up with its budget until May, June. In that time, unfortunately, by state law, the districts have to send out a bunch of pink slips to teachers that they might lay off later if they feel like they have to. And Bill Freeman says, look, we'd rather not have to make concessions now before we even know what the state's budget is.
Well, we're definitely going to have to follow this story. David Rowland and Jeff McDonald, thank you both for being here.
Mm-hmm.
Southern Californians tend to spend a lot of time behind the wheel, and now the La Jolla Playhouse wants you to spend just a little more time there. And while you're at it, take in a play. A look at car plays coming up from our culture desk in just a moment. This is KPBS Evening Edition.
I'm Ray Suarez. On the next News Hour, Margaret Warner reports from Moscow on the Russian presidential election, plus the analysis of Mark Shields and David Brooks. That's Friday on the PBS News Hour.
Hello, I'm Peter Marshall.
And I'm Nick Clooney with another edition of My Music from the glorious Big Band era.
This time, we're going to focus on the great singers and remember the songs that they made famous.
Night and day.
Music is timeless. It's my music. The Big Band vocalist right here on PBS.
Saturday at 6 on KPBS.
The American people
have named PBS
the most trusted source of news
and public affairs
for the 8th year
in a row.
Trust.
The American people have spoken.
Thank you.
KPBS Evening Edition is made possible by Joan and Irwin Jacobs and by
In Southern California, it may seem like we spend half our lives driving. Now a San Diego theater is asking us to spend even more time in our cars watching.
KPBS arts reporter Angela Carone takes us behind the scenes and the wheel for the car plays.
Before you embark on this incredible, strange, unique journey, there are a few rules of the road to consider.
This group of theatergoers has just arrived at the La Jolla Playhouse. It's likely most of them spent an average of 15 minutes in a car just getting here. They've come for an evening of theater, but instead of plush red seats in front of a stage, they'll be getting back into a car. Inside, they'll find actors who will perform a short play in the small space that is your average automobile.
You know, every audience is different, so it's really interesting, relating to the audience in that close-knit of a space and, really playing off, you know, the scene partner and also playing off the audience.
These are the car plays, a series of 10-minute plays performed in cars. Each audience member gets a ticket, which allows them to see 5 of the 15 plays. Car hops escort them from car to car and play to play. Paul Stein created the car plays in Los Angeles.
Practical reason, when I was artistic director of Moving Arts Theater Company back in 2006, we actually lost our theater space. So I wanted to keep a company going. We had about 30 members of the time, actors, directors, writers. So I needed to think of ways to produce and self-generate work regardless of theater space.
Just like we promised each other 12 years ago on our wedding day. Marla, you can't leave me.
And then I started thinking about all the moments I've had in parked cars. I had my first kiss with my wife in our parked car on our first date. I've been broken up many times by other people in my life, in my car. But then also Los Angeles, you know, with the driving, sometimes you use the car almost as an escape.
Many of the plays capture intimate, private moments between friends, family members, lovers, and strangers. Some are funny, and others are quite sad.
Our play is called One for the Road, and it's about a guy, Jason, played by me, who has lost his partner to a drunk driving accident, and he needs to deliver a eulogy, but he can't get the wherewithal to do it. So the ghost of his lover comes to visit him and convince him what he needs to do. The only thing that really sort of challenges me was doing it, 5 times in a single hour, because I thought, there's no way. But I find that I am a bottomless well of tears, and I didn't think that I was. I should have known.
For the actors, performing each short play 5 times in a row is like doing 5 different takes on a movie set. In fact, film acting seems to work better in a car than stage acting.
We've been discovering that when you're in the car, you actually have to do more cinematic acting, which in the beginning, that was really hard. We had to keep adjusting back and adjusting back and adjusting back because stage voices in a car are not good.
Oh, come on, Scout. Smell for them. It's them. They're back. They're back. I know it. Smell, Scout. Smell. Fine.
One of the car plays is about 2 dogs waiting in a car for their owners to return. It's called We Wait.
We decided that we weren't going to go like full-blown dog, that we didn't want to have them like sitting on the, car seats like dogs. So they're sitting like dogs. So they sit like humans, but they have dog behaviors. One of them's a little terrier dog and one of them's a lab dog. So I sent them both videos of doggy behavior, and we actually picked things that we saw in those videos, and then we were trying to bring them to their character.
You were adorable, that's all.
Some of the car plays were written by UCSD graduate students, and many are acted and directed by local theater artists. Audiences on opening night seemed delighted by the whole experience.
It was just fabulous. I can't say enough good things about it.
It's clear the car plays leave audiences with plenty to talk about on their drive home.
The car plays will run through March 11th at La Jolla Playhouse. You can find out how to purchase tickets on Angela's Culture Lust blog on kpbs.org.
San Diego needs about $1 million to pay for a replica of its KISS statue along the waterfront downtown. UT San Diego says port directors are scheduled to approve a recommendation from staff on Tuesday, but someone has to donate $1 million to seal the deal in the next 12 months. It calls for permanent installation at the same site. The 25-foot statue near the Midway Museum has been there for about 5 years, but it's badly in need of repair and will likely be removed in May. Public support has been strong for the statue, despite criticism from some port members.
We've got some new information tonight on the cost of public pensions in San Diego County. That's in our public square in just a moment.
This is KPBS Evening Edition.
I'm Chris Johns, editor of National Geographic magazine. Please join me as we count down the 10 very best photographs of 2011.
Wednesday at 8 on KPBS.
Throughout its 50-year history, KPBS's news and public affairs programs have challenged conventional thinking. We're investigating issues before they reach a crisis. Our world is much more than just today's headlines, and KPBS helps all of us explore what's next so that we can take action now.
Mr. Saturday.
Tony Bennett.
I wake up in the morning, I can't wait to sing.
The singer they all want to sing with, and they do. Recording his hit album, Duets 2. Look for today's great stars with Tony Bennett on Great Performances.
Wednesday at 9 on KPBS.
Welcome back to the Public Square on KPBS Evening Edition. On Monday, the San Diego City Council is scheduled to take up a proposal for a pay raise, one that's more than double what they're already making. The city's Salary Setting Commission recommended the raises. The mayor's salary would go from just over $100,000 a year up to $235,000, and city council members would get a $100,000 pay raise. The commission says the mayor and council haven't gotten a raise in 9 years. And throughout this week, we've also been talking about a new pension report by the San Diego County Taxpayers Association on the cost of public pensions. Yesterday, the association made some corrections to its report, and we want to share them with you. The report originally said the cost of Del Mar's public pensions is projected to increase by 15% next year, a number we reported. Well, that's not true. The actual projection is about 6%. And the report also said firefighters in Escondido do not contribute to their pension fund. Again, that was a mistake. Employees contribute 9% of their payroll. Well, we want to know what you think of these stories, including these pay raises for city council members. You can weigh in on the conversation by following us on Twitter, liking us on Facebook, and of course you can always send me an email, jferrian@kpbs.org. I may read some of your comments on air.
Recapping some of our top stories, state prison officials say they've done away with non-traditional beds for inmates. Last year, you may recall 20,000 beds were double and triple stacked in prison gyms and other facilities because there weren't enough cells. Court-ordered prison realignment has reduced the prison population by about 19,000 inmates, but it has to drop by another 17,000 by June of next year. And more than a dozen San Diego companies have made a list of the biggest tax delinquents in California. Several San Diegans are on the list of those who owe sales or use taxes. Altogether, those listed owe the state nearly $25 million. You can watch and comment on any of the stories you saw tonight on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thank you for joining us.
Have a great night, and we'll leave you with a look at the forecast.
A warmer forecast. Good night.